Hi, welcome back to Sehr Labs. We have a bit of a different video again today. Today I'm going to take you on my 14.5 hour day on a road trip to Frankfurt Equinix FR8 to perform a firewall upgrade on our Palo Alto pair. Everything went perfectly, we would say, apart from dropping some traffic for our Road Warrior users due to a time skew error. So I'll highlight that at the end of the video so that that one doesn't catch you out in future. So enjoy the journey. It's very noisy as being in a data center environment. There's only certain bits and pieces I can show you, but I thought I'd take you on my journey, starting with my 4 a.m. journey to the airport. And my day ended at around 6:30 that evening once I'd arrived back in London, just in time for my son's parents' evening. So enjoy the video and I'll catch you at the end. Today's video doesn't start in the lab, but we start in Terminal 2 Heathrow. Today is a field trip. We're going to be heading off to Frankfurt, Germany, to go to Equinix, one of our data center locations, and we're going to be there to perform a firewall software upgrade. So I will take you along for the trip. Hopefully it's uneventful, and we can perform this upgrade and get back home within the same day. That's the plan, at least anyway, is to get into Frankfurt hopefully for about 10 o'clock, and then get to the co-location facility, and then from there we will perform our upgrade. We're going to start with our standby node, perform the upgrade on that. We'll then fail all the traffic over onto the newly upgraded standby node and make that primary, or the active, and then we will work on upgrading the what was the primary, get that up to date, put it back into the HA pair, and then we'll test failing the traffic back over onto the primary node, and hopefully all will be good and we can leave. So I'm going to go and find some breakfast and a cup of coffee, and I'll see you when we get Germany side. So welcome to FR8. This is the cold aisle. Well, I'm going to turn around, I'll show you what I'm going to be looking at. So we have two Palo Altos, active, passive. The job is we're going to upgrade the passive one first, and we will then fall over from the primary onto the passive one, and then we'll then update the primary, and we should not see any traffic drops. That's the plan anyway. So this one is definitely HA, it's definitely the secondary one. This one's definitely the primary. I'm going to get my laptop hooked up. I need an access port and a console cable just in case. So we'll get those both ready, and then we'll log into the secondary one and see if we can start the update process. So what we currently have is I have network access now on my laptop to an out-of-band switch. I'm logged in to Firewall 2. I'm going to log into Firewall 1. So I've got them both up. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start on Firewall 2. I'm going to start a firmware update. So we're going to tell it now to install the latest firmware 11.1 on the standby node, and once that is fully updated and it restarts, because it's going to restart, and once I see it come back up online, what I'll do is I'll fail over the primary so that all traffic will be handled by the secondary node up here, and once that happens, I'll then perform the upgrade on the primary one, and then I'll put the primary one back into service. So that's the plan of action. So right now it's doing the update. I don't have any screen recording software on here, so I'll just take a quick video so you can see that it's downloading and installing. I'll put it up in the corner. It's downloading and installing that that software onto the backup one. Right now, it is the secondary node. It's currently doing its update. It's about 61% through, and then no doubt it's going to do a reboot. So that means at the moment the primary one is handling all of the traffic, and then once we see that this one has completed its update and it's stable, we will then do a shift. Everything looks good on there so far. Now, sitting on the data center floor, you'll get used to doing this. If you ever become a network engineer, you get used to this whole thing of sitting on floors, crawling underneath the floor, putting your arm in weird and horrible places. So, joy, eh? And our day today started at 4 o'clock this morning. Right, it's now telling me it wants to reboot, so it's now going to reboot the secondary device. So now everything is all on the primary, so I'm now checking traffic outbound. To the internet, and I'm testing traffic out to one of our locations via our cloud, so that I can see that traffic is still flowing whilst the second one reboots, because Palo Alto devices can take a little while to restart, so just want to make sure that nobody's screaming right now, because the whole point of having HA is that you can update one without causing a downtime. That is the whole purpose of this. But the whole reason why I travelled on site is to make sure that if we do lose connectivity in any way, we don't have to wait for remote hands to show up and help us get back into the devices. We're on site, we can directly access them. Standby device is doing its reboot. Oh God, here's the squeaky bum moment. Starting to get some activity again on the management and the HA interfaces. So we will wait whilst it still keeps running through, and then if needs be I'll connect the console cable up as well and have a look, and we can keep an eye on the boot process. Status lights coming back up on the secondary node. We've got responses from the management interface. There we can see we do have some green lights. There we go. We do have some green lights on those devices. That's a good sign so far. See that the secondary node, the standby node, has now come back up into initial state, which means it's trying to initialize and be part of the HA again. So I'm going to keep refreshing the primary. Right, I can see now that the primary side is showing that it can see the secondary. All of the interfaces that are meant to be up are showing as up, but the only difference now is we're seeing that the running config is not synchronized, and we're not seeing and we're seeing a version mismatch, because obviously we're running a newer version on here to what we're running on the old one. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to verify that the secondary one is definitely up with the correct version. Then I'm going to force the failover. Okay, I can see that we're running 11.1.10H1. Everything seems okay there. Okay, so it's now going to run with the config that it had before we did the update. Now I'm going to force the traffic over. So we've got traffic running. I'm going to check. We didn't lose any pings to the internet. We didn't lose any pings to our remote site. Our gateway's up. I'm going to restart those so that we can monitor. So the current active firewall is Firewall 1. I'm now going to fail it over to Firewall 2. Request high availability, status, suspend. We dropped one packet. Firewall 1 is now in a suspended state. So what I'm going to do is I'm now going to go to the software section and perform the update on this device. Right, we've now started the update procedure on device number 2. We've now started the update procedure. The secondary one should now be the active one, handling all of the traffic flow. I don't know how well this video is going to come out because it's very noisy in here. I'm wearing my earphones with the noise cancelling turned on to block out the sound. And also I've got to be very careful about what I film. I'm trying to only film our own racks and try not to show anything else. And obviously also there's certain things that I can't show you on the front of some devices, etc. So I'm fairly limited what I can and can't show, but like obviously I just wanted to take you along for the adventure whilst we're here. So you get to see what it's like getting up first thing in the morning. You know, I've literally been awake for this job since 1 o'clock this morning because I spent most of the night awake worrying about if it was going to go correctly and if there was going to be any issues performing the upgrade, because the last thing you want to do is fly in somewhere, end up stuck with massive problems. So like I said, we're now starting the update procedure on what was the primary node. Once that's done, restarted, I'll bring you back, and then what we'll do is we'll double check everything's working and we'll probably fail everything back over onto that one node so everyone knows that Firewall 1 is the primary. Now here goes nothing. We're now starting the reboot on what was the old active device. So Firewall 1 is now going down. They're both up. We've got all green lights on that one. Everything's happy. This one we've got all green lights, and that's correct because it's a standby. So we have one amber. So successful. Successful job. Done. This is the hot mild side. Yeah, that's the back of our cab. That's the back of our cab. Definitely looking good. Don't want to stick around here too much because it's bloody roasting around this side. We're done, so I'm now, everything's all upgraded. There was one issue, like I said, with Global Protect. We found the issue was the certificate problem, so we'll just change those certificates and that should resolve that one. Now I'm just waiting for a taxi to take me back to Frankfurt Airport. and go and have some lunch, and then I'll be heading home. So see you when I get to the airport. And out of all the things that makes me happy about coming to Frankfurt Airport is this chicken panini. I absolutely love this thing. Every time I come here I have one of these, and it's a must. If you're ever in Frankfurt Airport, come down to the gates near B25, B26, grab yourself one of these paninis, you'll love them. A bonus piece here at the end to highlight, even though we had 2 nodes in HA, we had an issue with our Global Protect clients that I highlighted it towards the end of the video there. Elements of the 2 devices, these are the 2 demo devices here in the lab, that do or do not synchronize. Like we had configured Firewall 1 with the correct time zone information, the correct time was set, correct geolocation, and under services and NTP was configured, etc. So everything was all staying in sync. Under Firewall 2, under devices, the time zone information didn't synchronize over from the primary. It was different. And obviously we set our devices to UTC. The time zone for the one here was set to Berlin time, and then the clock wasn't kept in sync because under the NTP settings, the NTP configuration for Firewall 1 didn't also synchronize over. So over the time that this firewall has been running for the last 3 years, the clock skew got so great that when the device was trying to then re-authenticate those users to Azure for SAML authentication, there was a great clock skew, and so the authentication wasn't allowed to happen. Now those elements have been fixed, so that won't happen again. So I just thought it was a good one to drop in there at the end, just to highlight. Double check that all of your settings that you are assuming synchronize between the 2 are actually synchronizing. And with that, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed that video and my little adventure in my 14.5-hour workday. Made it back just in time to get to my son's parents' evening and go out for dinner. So very busy and very tired. But I hope you enjoyed. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next video.